Hi friends, it's Siva. I'm going to be doing a slightly different video today, and I am going to be unboxing and reviewing this mouse that I just got. So before I get started in talking about why I bought a new mouse, what mouse I'm coming from, and then reviewing the features of this mouse, I want to introduce you to what mouse this is that I bought. It is the M908 Impact by Redragon. It's no longer on the US or UK site for Redragon, but it is still on their German site, and it is still available on Amazon for about 30 bucks. It's an MMO mouse, has 12 side buttons, has a nice rapid fire button on the top, which is 3 left clicks, and then it has the usual mouse button 4, mouse button 5, and mouse wheel. Has removable weights, an adorable little weight case, has RGB lighting with a ton of different styles and patterns that you can set, has a wide DPI range from 500 all the way up to over 12,000, has up to 1,000 hertz pulling, has Teflon feet, has a braided cable. The software is really nice, and I'm going to show you all of that in the video. Now, I have used a Razer MMO mouse, first the Naga and then the Chroma, for a very long time. And anyone who's relatively familiar with that sort of things knows that Razer has kind of a not great reputation for their mice, in particular with the buttons failing after a while. The two ones you'll hear of is the main left click and right click will stop working, and they'll either double click or they won't take the key presses. And the other one you'll hear about is the bounce from the mouse wheel eventually wearing out. This is my third Razer mouse. The reason that I keep picking Razer mice is that they are fairly small and they fit my small hand really well. A lot of the other brands like Logitech and SteelSeries, their mice are very, very heavy duty, which is great if you have big hands. Not so great if you don't have big hands, and a lot of those mice are not comfortable for me. So I've continued to buy the Razer mice, even though I have had button failures on 3 of them. This is my third one. It just wore out, which is why I just bought this one. My first Razer mouse, the Naga, lasted a decent amount of time. I think about 3 years, considering how much I use it. That's pretty good. My first Chroma lasted not even the warranty, and so I got this second one from them as part of the warranty. But unfortunately, the warranty for this one is based off of the warranty for my first one. So even though it's a refurbished model, it doesn't have the normal warranty. So so now that it's dying, I'm having the scroll wheel bounce, and also one of the side buttons doesn't work anymore. It's time to replace it. And so I thought I would gamble and I would go with this Redragon brand. I've seen them on Amazon. They're super cheap, which is why it was very appealing to me. But they have really good reviews, so I'm like, well, how about I try it? I think it's one of the bigger style mice, so I'm not sure how comfortable it will be for my hand, but this mouse was $35 compared to the Chroma, which I think is almost $200 because it's wireless also. I don't play with it wireless. I do not have good track record with wireless mice, so I play with it plugged in, but you can do it either way. I really like MMO mice for the side buttons. Even outside of MMOs like Diablo, I have everything on that side button, so it's really nice. Like, I can play Diablo with just one hand, which is really awesome. But also in FPS games and stuff, I can put everything on the mice, and so all I need to use my other hand for is WASD. So it's just it's convenient, and I like it, and I've gotten used to it. You know, some people use gamepads, but I really like being able to program those side buttons. It's very useful, even in games like maybe I just put, you know, Interact or something very basic on it, but like I like it, and I enjoy it, and I really want to stick with the MMO mice for all my games. So yeah, so I thought I would gamble with this one, and we're going to check it out, and I'm going to review it and give my thoughts, and perhaps someone else who is currently using Razer and experiencing the bounce will get a useful takeaway out of this. So yeah, let's get started. Button durability, 5 million clicks. So as someone who games a lot, and also someone who works their day job also from the same computer, I don't know how long 5 million clicks will last me, but hopefully longer than the Razer. It's got, the little button has this nifty little snap here on this box. I really like this box. I have an attachment to boxes, and that's really nice. There's a little snap, and you can save it in the case. Okay, so I can see already that this mouse is very, very big, which was my concern. For comparison, have these side by side. Comparison, you know, this one is a lot bigger, and it's mostly these side rests for your fingers, and there's another one here for your thumb. I do like right away, you can see on these buttons that they are angled for each set, which is really nice to help you find where you're at. The 5 and the 8 also do have the little bar, 3-dimensional bar, so you can feel where you are. Whereas on this one, gosh, it's really dirty and I'm embarrassed to show it. The buttons are very slightly angled, but it can be very difficult if you lose your place to find home row, so to speak. I actually glued a little 3-dimensional dot here on the 5. You can kind of see it there to help me find it, because the angling of the buttons is very, very slight on this one. I don't even know if you can even see from here. Where in this one, it's much more significant, and it has this little thumb rest here, and the usual, you know, button 4, button 5 are here, and it's got the mouse wheel, and this is like the rapid fire button. I don't know if I would use that. The one thing that this mouse doesn't seem to have that my other mouse has is it doesn't have the scroll wheel tilt, so you can't tilt the wheel left and right, and keybind that as well. But I actually ended up not using that very often because I had a tendency to hit it when I didn't want to hit it, when I'm just trying to scroll the wheel. So I don't really care about the loss of that feature. Otherwise, this mouse looks really good. Of course, I need to install it and jump into the settings and check it out and then try it in a game, which we'll do here. Supposedly there is a memory module inside this mouse, so you can save your settings in the mouse itself, move the mouse to another computer, and have your settings go with it. You don't need to install the software and all that stuff. I don't think Razer mice do that. I think you have to go to through their Synapse software, which is still cloud-based, so you can still move it to other computers, but you probably have to install that. Oh, also this is super cute. It's a little tiny box, and this is where you put, I think, the weights from the mouse if you're not using them. But like, man, that little box is adorable. I just want to keep this box. I don't think it'll fit anything. Oh, that's a nice, satisfying snap. I like it. I don't know if I like the mouse, but I'm sold on this. So yeah, let's get it installed and let's check it out. So now we'll take a look here in the UI settings. I actually like this a lot better than Synapse. Well, hopefully it doesn't crash as much as Synapse likes to do. But here's the basic thing. I've already set my acceleration and pointer speed, scroll speed, double click speed, all that I want. You can adjust the polling rate here. And over here is where you set the keybinds. Now you can do some really advanced stuff in this, which is cool. Has a lot of the basic ones. You can just also select a key and keybind to that, but you can have it do all kinds of things, including do really advanced macros. So I think that's really cool. You can just set the macros right on the button. And I've also already rebound my side buttons to what I like to use. But you can do that all in here, and you can have up to 5 profiles, and all these profiles are saved in the mouse itself, which is nice. So here you can set your DPI presets to whatever you want. It does go all the way up to over 12,000 if you want that. I think the default is 6,000 something. You can set the light here. We'll come back to that in a second, and I will show you all the different light settings. And then we have the basic info. And then you make your profiles, which you can save locally and load files, and the basic set and restore. So let's go over here now and look at the light settings, and I'm going to put a side-by-side camera for my mouse so you can actually see what these look like on the mouse itself. This is what the mouse looks like when it's off, of course. Then right here we have the flash, and you can set the brightness level, the speed, and the color on this. Then here we have reactive. Every time you move the mouse, it turns on and lights up and cycles through the colors. If you move it a bunch, it just cycles faster. Then we have go without a trace, which just desyncs the side buttons from the top buttons, it looks like. Then we have the wave here, which is similar to rainbow, but it seems to cycle a little faster. Then we have the full lighted, where you can set it to a specific color and it just stays lit the whole time in blue. And then here we have green, and then we'll just set it to the white. And I will notice that the white light is a little pinkish almost on the back there. And then we have rainbow, where it just cycles through all the colors slowly in order. You can set the speed differently on this one as well as the wave. And then the last one is breathing. You set a specific color and it just kind of pulses on and off. And it has breathing speed and a brightness level and all that as well. And then back to off if you do not care about colors. So now that I have been using this mouse for a few days and I have more experience, I can give a little bit more feedback on it. So the thing about this mouse, you can see I have it still plugged in and I'm using it down here, is it is very big, and that is my concern, and that is why I went with a Razer for so many generations, even though I continue to have problems with the buttons that Razers are known for. But they're very small and I have small hands, so they work out very good for me. This one is very, very big. Has the thumb rest on this side, which is not so bad. It adds width to it, but it doesn't actually require your hand to be bigger. On this side it has the rests for your fingers. It does add a decent amount of width for it. These buttons here on the side, on my Razer, I could comfortably hit all of those buttons without moving my thumb too much, and on this one it's very difficult for me. I know I'll get used to it as I do it more, and I'll have a little bit more comfortable of a time doing it, but right now my thumb naturally kind of rests here on the 4, 5, 6 buttons, and then I kind of have to strain a little to get the 10, 11, 12 button there at the bottom. I can hit it with the back of my thumb, but again, it's not quite as comfortable as the Razer, and I'm not sure I like it as much. So on the front, the button 4 and button 5 here, by default, these buttons here are for adjusting the DPI. There is a very big DPI range, so you know, if you do Photoshop, but you also game, that works really good for that. I rebound them. And this one I can comfortably hit. This one I cannot really hit even with the back of my thumb. Again, that's different from my other one. The other thing is this mouse wheel does not have tilt. You can use it, obviously, you can press it down as a button depress, but you can't do it to the side, which my Chroma had, where I could also rebind the tilt on the wheel, and it doesn't have that, but it does also have a rapid fire button, which by default is like 3 quick presses of your main key, but you can set it to anything. So that part is not as great, but my main complaint with the mouse is that for someone with smaller hands, it is a lot harder to hit everything. If you have big hands, it probably won't be a concern to you at all. And even if you do have small hands, this mouse was $35. And I think the regular Naga mouse is like $100. So, you know, Razer is not cheap. Mostly what you pay for with Razer is you're paying for the brand because they're associated with gaming products. I think their keyboards and gamepads and stuff are supposed to be pretty good, but their mice just have a very bad reputation for the buttons failing. The mechanical parts are not that good a quality, and they don't last very long. My first Naga, I think I said, lasted a couple years, and so that one went a long time. But my first Chroma failed while it was still under warranty, so I got a replacement one through them, which was no problem, but now the refurbished replacement is failing, and that one is only covered by my original warranty, which of course is now expired. So I had to get something else, and I really didn't want to spend $200. Well, I really couldn't spend $200. So I went with this one, and I'm interested in trying it more and getting used to it. I don't plan to replace it, even though I'm not entirely happy with it, but for $35, like, you can't really go wrong. Also, some of the nice stuff about the software is you can bind advanced macros right to those keybinds. I think on the Naga in the Synapse you can only assign different key presses to those. You couldn't actually assign advanced functions to them, and this one you can put a full macro for every single key if you want. That's really nice, but you can also just keybind it based on key press and stuff like that. So very, very flexible. Also, the Naga, if you care about RGB lighting, the Razer Chroma has RGB lighting, but you can't like set patterns or anything. You can just pick whether you want it to cycle through a rainbow or whether you want it to be a particular color. This one has patterns. You can have it. I have mine set to cycle through, I don't know if you can even see in the lighting, cycle through colors like a rainbow, and the side buttons do as well. These red ones here do not, but the rest of the mouse. So if you're really big into like RGB lighting and you want it to match your case, then there's a lot of flexibility with this mouse. Anyway, I hope that was at least somewhat helpful or interesting to people, especially people who are in the market for mice or people who really like MMO mice like I do. As I said in my first clip, in the first half of this video, I use those keybinds for all kinds of games, even non-MMOs. In fact, WoW is the only MMO that I play nowadays. But yeah, I use that for everything. I really like having the ability to play a bunch of stuff just from my mouse and use just this hand for WASD, especially because I do have small hands. It is hard for me to reach on the keyboard, and also I have like nerve damage in this fingertip, so I can't use it for pressing. So that sort of limits my range of motion even more because I'm doing things with these 3 fingers instead of these 3. But yeah, so that's my opinion on the mouse. And I am actually rebuilding my computer next year. Tomorrow is Black Friday, and I'm hoping to pick up the last few components. Some I have already bought. I'm going to do a video on my rebuild and show off my old case because there's kind of a story behind my case. I mean, not really a story. I've had it for a long, long time, and I finally am replacing it. So to talk a little bit about that. But I'll probably do a video on that. And that's also part of the reason why you haven't seen any recent gaming videos from me, because I've been having some computer problems and overheating issues and various problems, so I haven't been playing quite as much stuff lately. Also, I've been very busy. But yeah, so I'll do the next video will probably be my rebuild video. Maybe I'll get a WoW video in there here or there. But yeah, okay. So thank you for watching, guys.